Welcome everybody to the 2020 BMW 230i xDrive. This example has been provided to me today by Calgary BMW, and all of their information is linked down below. So many thanks have to go off to them that have made this video possible. Now, I've had previous experience with the 2 Series. That was with the M240i. That was one of my absolute favorite drives of that year. Turbocharged 6-cylinder, manual transmission, rear-wheel drive. This is a quite different model to that one. Here we've got the 2-litre 4-cylinder engine with the twin-scroll turbocharger, the 8-speed automatic transmission, and xDrive all-wheel drive. So the driving experience should be quite dissimilar, but with both of these cars really holding on to the same platform, of course with some very core components different in their chassis, I still think this 2 Series is a wonderful thing to drive. So let's talk about this exact model that I have with me, and then at the end of this video I'll place it in my ranking system to see where it compares against other subcompact premium vehicles. The 230i gets the latest 4-cylinder engine with 255 horsepower and 248 pound-feet of torque. Plenty of alertness off the line though. Turbo lag is there. There's no way to really hide it in such a small displacement motor like this, but I take no complaint with it. None of the vibration comes into the cabin though. That's quite impressive. There's a few different driving modes with the BMW 2 Series. Here we have the Eco Pro, Comfort, Sport, and Sport Plus. As you'll see from this little digital readout here, Sport Plus actually turns off your traction control. Now, when you're driving about regular day-to-day, this 8-speed transmission is utterly fantastic. No interruptions at all. When you go into sport mode and you choose to shift gears manually, of which you can when you option up for the paddle shifters here behind the steering wheel, there's quite a few thuds from the transmission. I think they've been intentionally programmed in to make it feel more aggressive, although with many of the other versions of this 8-speed transmission I've encountered, I haven't experienced that same thudding motion, that aggressive feeling. I see this 230i mostly as a cruiser, so comfort mode is all you need to feel good from behind the wheel. When I tested out the last 2 Series, that M240i, I don't remember the steering being this light. It's accurate, it's responsive, but it feels just perhaps a touch too light for this vehicle. Of course, the 2 Series is still available with the 6-speed manual transmission, but when you go and option for the xDrive, you lose that and you exclusively have to run with the 8-speed automatic. So no, this 4-cylinder engine isn't particularly exciting, but on a long highway drive and day-to-day commuting, this is honestly quite a brilliant vehicle. Visibility all around is fantastic. The ride is very comfortable despite us being on 18-inch rims with run flat tires. Don't really have anything to complain about in that respect. So the 2 Series came along in 2016 to replace the 1 Series. This was to align itself a little better with BMW's new naming strategy, so that the 2-door cars had even numbers, 4-door cars had odd numbers. This car is still heavily related to that 1 Series. It still has a very similar look on the inside and the outside, but was updating it to the time to what BMW was 4 years ago. I've been privileged enough to drive a lot of the brand new current models, like the new 3 Series, the X7, the X5, and so on. So getting into this car does feel like, well, it doesn't feel like a step back, but it is certainly lacking in, the full digital screen, the larger touch screen. The integration of the buttons for the climate control and these radio settings is very different. But for me, it doesn't feel like I'm stepping backwards. It really, to me, feels like a bit of a palate cleanser for all of the new BMWs I've been able to experience. Simple, clear dials, just backlit and a little bit of a digital readout down below, so I can get some information with the different computer settings, and the efficient dynamic screen that's just below the tack. The iDrive still works brilliantly. The touch screen is just a touch out of distance to me. I do have to lean in to reach it. I believe this one It's classified as iDrive 6, and it's brilliant. You lack the gesture control, which I know a lot of people despise. This iDrive has CarPlay and it's wireless. Haven't experienced the same problems with this that I have done in the other versions of the new BMWs. But again, you do have to pay $80 a year to now have access to CarPlay in your vehicle. I'm 6'4", and sitting in this seat, I am very happy. I've got a lot of thigh extension, a lot of movement with these electrically operated seats, and the steering wheel has a lot of telescoping and tilting ability. So finding your perfect driving position in this car, I don't think it's going to be an issue at all. It's all just quite simple and elegant. We've got a little bit of black plastic just sort of surrounding the air vents, and here in front of your climate control and volume knob and the rest of all of these buttons. The silver details here with the grab handles in the door that look like they're actually floating and disconnected from the door, just because this bright colored portion is separated with this dark color from behind the grab handle. The smooth helix design of this silver portion here looks great, and the majority of the things that you are touching when you're looking at plastic are soft touch plastics. Down below, they are hard though. And this is a neat little touch that BMW has put in so that taller drivers like me might not complain. But just where I rest the side of my leg is cushioned by this soft plastic portion that has been tacked on to the hard plastic bit down below. It's a good idea, as that portion really just stretched to the furthest edge of the tunnel, and then bringing it all the way down past the handbrake and then to where the center armrest is. Not a lot of space in there. One USB outlet, place to rest your phone, nothing more than that. In the M240i that I played around with, there was a USB outlet with the cup holders that I took complaint with, wondering if there was ever going to be an issue, if you spilled a drink, would that damage the USB? And I would imagine it'd be quite a significant fix. Well, there is no USB here anymore. There is a 12-volt power outlet that's covered up by its own little plug. So maybe that's a change that's come along for 2020, or just for the 230i model. I'm not sure. Standard with the 2 Series is the M Sport package, so you have this chunky leather steering wheel, the M badge down here below. Inside of the door seals, they'll have the M badge too. Some of the standard features that come along with the 2 Series include that M Sport package, the iDrive system with the touchscreen, the dual zone climate control, heated front seats, and the LED lights front and rear. With this model I'm driving, I have the Premium Essential package, so that's adding the heated steering wheel with quite an odd button placement here down the side. You might forget that you have one. Also the keyless comfort access and the sunroof. Other things added onto this model: the Harman Kardon sound system, the upgraded black leather seats, so we have this exclusive stitching with the blue in a couple touches here along the door cards, and you'll see the M colors embedded into the piping here on these seats. Odd button placement as well, I might like to add, for the trunk release. Kind of hard to find when you first get into this vehicle. And then finishing up, the other things you might need to know about the 2 Series. It is a 2+2 coupe, so back seats really are reserved for the smallest amongst us. Me trying to sit behind myself is quite the comedy act. I don't want to spend any time back there whatsoever. And then when we focus on the trunk space, there's actually a fair amount of room in there. I'm quite impressed of how much this 2 Series can carry. And it's nice that the hinges are built on top of the boot and they don't impede in the boot space at all. With the folding flat seats, the 2+2 offers a lot more practicality than most would expect out of a small BMW coupe. It's fairly impressive. So that wraps up all of my thoughts regarding the 2020 BMW 230i xDrive. I would be lying in saying that this is just as fun as a vehicle as that M240i I tested out last year. Manual transmission, big motor up front, rear wheel drive. That's how a BMW should be. But it has been incredibly refreshing to get into this car, which is now amongst one of the oldest in the current BMW lineup, and see the progression of what the BMW is currently with, you know, the new 3 Series and the X7 and so on in terms of their design and interior layouts, and get into what is a very small package but also quite a very well put together car. And that's why I think that if you're shopping for a subcompact coupe or just a subcompact car, you should consider owning the 2 Series here in this 230i, guys, and even more so in its more powerful configurations. So that's been everything from me. Thanks again for watching this video, and many thanks again have to go off to Calgary BMW and the Dilawri Group that were able to lend this vehicle out to me for a couple days so I could review it. All of their information is linked down below. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you here again soon.